I recently finished the 4.2 Archon quest in Genshin Impact. Suffice it to say that it was incredible. Though the pacing could have been better, but Genshin Impact is no stranger to bad pacing in the main story. It is what it is. Oh, Furina, my beloved Archon who took the world by storm with her dazzling teaser trailer, has been relegated to the backstage by the Hydro Dragon himself. This is what she wanted though, but I still feel bad for her.
I didn't know you cared so much about me.
I wish there was an opportunity for her to actually confide in us after the prophecy was fulfilled, but at least we have her story quest, which ended up resulting in her receiving a vision. I never felt more bad for a character in Genshin. In all honesty, I never got attached to anyone, aside from Nahida, Fischl, and Hu Tao. Hopefully the second Archon story quest that Fontaine has will involve her, even if she isn't the Archon anymore. It's likely that Neuvillette will be the main focus during the story quest that unlocks the next weekly boss. Which is fine since he's now the Dragon Sovereign once more. There technically isn't a Hydro Archon anymore. So will there even be a second story quest that will unlock Fontaine's next boss? Only time will tell. There was a time when I quit playing Genshin. I think it was when Baizu first released. I just got bored with the game. The story seemed like it would be best consumed via YouTube. The main game of Genshin had an endgame content problem for years. I was at my wit's end when I finally stopped playing the game. I wanted to enjoy playing Genshin. I really did, but I wasn't motivated to do the same mundane tasks over and over again. If you know, you know. However, with Fontaine's story quest now wrapped up, I think it's safe to say that Genshin truly shines in its story rather than gameplay. There was a consensus at one point where it was believed that the main story of Genshin was just kind of okay, but the lore of Genshin was great. Kind of like that Western cartoon, Adventure Time. Great lore, mid-story. Well, that changed with Fontaine's Archon quest. I am in awe with how well Furina and Neuvillette's story went. There, genuine stakes and lasting consequences. While consequences are neat, those aren't the main reasons why Fontaine's Archon quest works so well. The simple reason why so many people loved this Archon quest was because of the emotional payoff involving the Furina and the Hydro Dragon Neuvillette. When we're first introduced to Furina, we can see that she acts proud, pompous, and very bratty.
Fear is for insignificant cowards. I am a god, and I will never entertain the notion of such meaningless wariness. You can be rest assured, I see clearly your sincerity. Of course, seeking an audience with me is the most sensible thing to do. It will allow you to truly behold my power and witness my authority. Intelligent people always gather under the correct banner.
She needed correction, and I'm sure to some she still does. However, over the course of the story, we get a glimpse into her deep emotional turmoil. Till the very end, she played her long part. She was powerless for over 500 years, having the immortality of an Archon, but none of the abilities. It's one of those things that makes you want to protect her at all costs. She suffered not being able to do anything directly about the primordial sea, taking the lives of her nation's people.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless.
Despite all of her efforts to stop the prophecy from happening, she still didn't prevent it. And in the end, it came true. But it was all a calculated plan by Focalor. The divided divine power that was stripped from Furina into that machine that I won't even dare to try and pronounce.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale.
What?
We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render...
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale is by law.
Focalor also suffered, while watching her counterpart go through the same song and dance number for 5 whole centuries. We even get a glimpse of just how stressed and tired Furina was, and even how bad Focalor felt about having to put her counterpart through that entire ordeal.
Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. Have I reached my limit? No. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far?
Imagine not having anyone to confide in or ask for help for over 5 centuries. You'd want to go berserk, I bet. But not Furina. No, definitely not Furina. She persevered. Despite the pain, Despite how tired she was, she kept going. Never in my life have I felt so bad for a fictional character to this extent. I sometimes felt myself wondering, could I perhaps jump into the screen and save her? I'm not from Fontaine, so she could confide in me. I'd listen to her and be there for her. I know I'm not alone when I say that. Furina made us all want to support her, and she is now probably a lot of Genshin fans' favorite waifu. Her reward for enduring up until the prophecy was fulfilled was finding out that it was wrong. Or rather, that there was a part that was left out. Neuvlet freed the people of Fontaine from their original sin right before the primordial sea flooded everything. This way, each citizen will no longer be dissolved into water. The primordial sea wouldn't be able to do anything to them anymore. Neuvlet must have felt such gratitude towards Focalor for giving him the power to quell the sin of the people of Fontaine. All for her greater goal of defying the prophecy, fooling the heavenly principles, and allowing Furina to become the human that she always wanted to be. In the end, Furina became human and decided to live out the rest of her days as a human. You can tell during her story quest that she sounds a bit empty and exhausted.
It's common courtesy to make sure the homeowner isn't in earshot when you're denigrating their abode. I used to have a much wider range of choices when it came to food, but now I'm finding that simple, traditional home cooking can be quite delicious too.
How rude! Questioning my cooking skills. The audacity!
She only just got the freedom she desired, but at the cost of being adored by the people of Fontaine. Some still hate her for her inaction during the flood, and she will have to live with that for the rest of her days. But that doesn't mean it's all doom and gloom for her. During her story quest, we learn that she still loves acting and wants to be a performer again. Her love for the stage is as strong as ever. During the performance that she takes the lead role of, she awakens to a vision for the first time in her life. You can tell that she now feels a bit hopeful for her future now, more than ever, despite no longer being an Archon. For the first time in her life, she has the ability to manipulate the hydro element at her command, and she can wield that power that she desired for so long as a human being, which she always wanted to be. Fontaine's Archon has proven to me that Genshin Impact can tell a competent story with proper stakes and emotional payoff. Liyue was a bit too predictable. Inazuma was pure dog water, and Raiden's story was poorly executed. Sumeru had awful pacing. But Fontaine, on the other hand, was incredible. I loved everything about this chapter, and I love my wonderful wife Furina. The pacing was still pretty bad though.